All right, thank you very much. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the photos that are coming in. We got one there. This is in Virginia Beach, Cara, and you can see the trees covered in snow. We had that wind very strong, so there's a lot of drifting. Some things it blew the snow off of. And then some things it just drifted it up, so that's what's going on out there. And then this is in Western Branch, this is Beverly, and you can see that snow there, just covering the roads, covering the cars, and it's hard to get a gauge of how much snow exactly fell. I think in that spot maybe about 2 inches, but you can still see some grass in places, but then it drifts. So again, kind of hard to see. So send us your pictures, please, to wavy.com/report it, and we can get those in. You can use the QR code. If you miss it, we'll show that again throughout the next couple of hours. So Virginia Beach, Matahalfa Tower, Town Center, this is right now. We've got snow on the roads. The interstates are looking pretty good. They're treated. A lot of the primaries are looking okay, but the secondaries and neighborhoods, they're not so good right now. And that snow is blowing around, so that's why driving is going to be difficult. Will roads be impassable? You know what? In parts of North Carolina, we had the higher amounts. Yeah. In some places where the snow's still coming down a little bit, yeah, maybe. But I think most of it just has been driving difficult. Things should improve for the afternoon. I think, we'll get those roads treated, and we'll get some improvements on that. So what happened? Well, we had 2 areas of low pressure moving across as expected, and as expected, this low kind of took over right there, and then now that's moving out to sea. But there was also a lot of dry air on the north end of this thing that came in, and so it limited a lot of the snow totals. Still, I mean, there's a wintry scene out there for many, and there's still some snow falling. And it's rather heavy down here across parts of northeast North Carolina. You can see it. Hatteras, heavy snow. Mainland Dare, moderate to heavy snow. Manteo. And then anytime you see these medium blues in here, that's probably where it's snowing. But these lighter blues, it might not be reaching the ground, because right here in Portsmouth, I didn't see any snow just lately. So maybe Elizabeth City south, you're getting still a little snow in Corolla. But up here over the south side, yeah, maybe a few flurries. I think that's about it. Maybe a little bit of light snow out of this. Portsmouth, parts of Norfolk, Suffolk, up into Fort Monroe, Hampton, and then a little bit in there also on the peninsula and middle peninsula. Maybe a few flurries, maybe a little light snow. It's a little more likely up here, though, up towards Highway 13 north of Cape Charles, probably closer to Exmoor, and then around Melfa, and then going up to Chincoteague, maybe a few light flurries or some light snow. So this thing will be winding down rather pretty soon. So I'm going to have Christy take you with Future Track. Christy?
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, so we'll continue to see some of that snow mainly across northeastern North Carolina and the Outer Banks clearing out of here. It looks like by 10 a.m. That's when I think that all of the snow should be ending for everybody. Then we'll eventually later this afternoon see some of those clouds begin to clear out of here. So we should see some sunshine just before the sun sets. We'll be set up with a mostly clear sky for tonight. So temperatures dropping pretty quickly again for us. Another very cold night is in store. Then as we head into the day on Monday, that area of high pressure that Jeremy was showing earlier, that's going to be influencing our weather, bringing us plenty of sunshine throughout the day as we get into later in the nighttime hours heading into Tuesday. A couple of passing clouds moving through. Now it is very windy out there. We currently have our winds from the north. Virginia Beach, sustained winds 21 miles per hour, 16 miles per hour for Wallops Island, 15 miles per hour for Newport News. So our coastal communities, you're dealing with those stronger winds right now. Wind gusts inland are coming in around 20-25 miles per hour, 35 miles per hour for Newport News. We've got 31 mile per hour gusts for Melfa. Tangier Island coming in with 38 mile per hour wind gusts. And I think the strongest spot right now is Virginia Beach with those 43 mile per hour gusts. We do have that high wind advisory that is still in effect because of these very strong winds. We'll see some blowing snow around there as we're heading throughout the day today, so look out for that as well. But we are going to be continuing to stay pretty gusty out there throughout the day today. This is as we get into this afternoon. Inland about 30 mile per hour gusts, still along the coast, those gusts around 40 miles per hour. As we get into later this afternoon, we'll start to see those winds dying down. So not expecting for this evening to really see much for that wind as we get inland, but still holding on to those gusts around 35 miles per hour as we're moving through the evening, even into portions of tonight for the immediate coastline. So that is going to be bringing up a concern for some tidal flooding. Now these tides have dropped a little bit, which is some good news there. Around 8 a.m. is our high tide cycle. So now we do have for a lot of areas in that minor tidal flooding category, moderate for Lynn Haven Inlet and Duck is what's reading now. So not as bad of tidal flooding, but still dealing with that tidal flooding, still making some areas impassable. And as we see that flooding receding, we could be seeing out there later on some flash freezing. So look out for that as temperatures are very cold. We have our wind chills that are going to be seeing as we get into this afternoon about 10 degrees for the wind chill as we get into later this afternoon and towards this evening as we wake up. up for tomorrow morning, it's going to be feeling like we are in those single digits. So really just make sure that you are continuing to stay bundled up, covering all of that exposed skin. We do have a little bit of a warm up into the 40s as we head towards the middle of the week. Now Wednesday, we could see a little bit of a rain-snow mix out there.